Okay.
It's live.
Yeah. So you can ask your question.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm not hearing anybody
Yeah,
except
I
for
don't hear
Otangelo.
him. Look out,
Yeah,
I
I mean
cannot
both.
hear you. Yeah, I'm hearing
Click,
you.
click,
I'm hearing you.
click on the second
Hello,
one.
Otangelo, you big beautiful bastard. How you doing?
Oh God.
Hey, sorry, I'm in a good mood today. Well, kind of. I figured, you know what? What the hell? I'll come on and talk to Otangelo, Mr. Portuguese. I don't know. Sorry, I forget. No, no. Sorry, I forget where you're from.
I live in Brazil, but I'm Swiss Italian.
Ah, bene, 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 Otangelo. Come sta oggi?
Bene, bene, grazie, grazie.
Buongiorno, principe. O
Con
principe,
te
I
devo,
guess.
con te devo stare attento perché se parlo delle parolacce tu lo capisci e poi cominci a ridere.
Sì, sì, lo capisco. Capisco. Vaffanculo, Cavadost.
Where's the StreamYard translate button?
No, that's better that we don't translate that. You know.
No, they just said a couple of swerving words.
Hmm. Well, anyway,
Okay.
been trying to drill down onto this ultimate fundamental, listening to the shenanigans of Darth, and trying to drill down to what that actually is talking about, because it seems to be two different vectors. Ultimate is the largest possible picture of something, and the fundament is the most essential singular characteristic of something. So when I hear him tell what is the fundamental thing for which everything else is related and referred to, okay, that's a reference down the road from what the fundamental would be. And it seems to me the fundamental is the difference between something and nothing, um, and uh, and that's something's occurrence. Its occurrence is the best word we can use. Um, that which occurs is something. That which does not occur is nothing. That's the fundamental. And the rest of it is describing it. You ask who, what, when, where, how, why. That's all the business of sentience. Okay, a sentience is the description, the observation of that which is actual. Whenever you use the word what actually is this or that, you're talking about the occurrence, um, without any kind of observation. It occurred. You don't have to see something or observe something for it to be actual. It's what actually occurred as a fundament. Do you kind
Yeah,
of
but
follow?
he's using another word as well, not just fundamental, which you are totally 100% correct. But he says ultimate, so he's pushing it further to the end. He's basically trying to say who's the beginning.
Well, I call that bloatware. That's the thing. You're talking about the fundament, and he fills it up with a bunch of bloatware about
Sure.
morality and possibilities and impossibility and all this stuff, and that's derived, referred to the fundamental thing. And the fundamental thing is this occurrence, and I can't see how God can be independent, be non-dependent upon his own occurrence. It's
Well,
the
I
same
would
for.
say, I mean, Aquina's argument is that there are necessary and contingent or dependent beings, and God is necessary because, I mean, if there wouldn't be God, then you need to replace him with another kind of necessary existence or being, because nothing cannot create something. Nothing has no potentiality to instantiate something. And since we are here, so something must have always existed, and
Well, that's
that thing
that.
which always existed is necessary and non-created.
That's just turning it around. It's still dependent on occurring. It's the fundamental thing. It has to
No,
occur.
it simply is. It simply exists, and that's how the God of the Bible reveals himself as the I am. He simply is. He simply exists.
Well, I thought that was a bad definition. I know they were right. The Bible is an agenda to establish an ultimate authority to control the behavior and thinking and morals of its membership.
Right.
So they're trying to describe an ultimate authority, and he says, "I am what I am." But actually, it's "I am what I do." If he doesn't do anything, okay, God is I am what I do. I am what I am is actually kind of circular and non-informative. I am what I do is a fundamental that shows that there is existence, so there is actuality. And then
Well, I don't see any error in God making reference to himself, because there has to be an end to the chain of regress, and where it ends, there is God. There is that ultimate being.
Could I just interrupt a second, please, Bill? Just to say, Doubting Thomas, we're getting a lot of mic noise from you, dude.
okay.
Sorry, Bill, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It interrupted my mind. I just see an essential separation between sentience and actuality. Sentience requires actuality. Actuality does not require sentience. So all the stuff that we're talking about, all the words we use are just descriptors of that which is actual. And we can either describe what is actual. Truth is the accurate description of that which is occurring or that which occurs. And we can either be accurate or inaccurate. Not so much false, but just that we are inaccurate in what we're describing, and it takes our vector of thinking into a vector of inaccuracy. That's why we get stuff wrong or get stuff right. But I think it's just all it's a natural physical emergence from the fundament of actuality that sentience in living beings has emerged, and the business of sentience is to observe, describe, and communicate to other sentient beings experience. And that's pretty much what we get. That should be a sufficient answer. The rest is all about science is the best way to figure all that stuff out, to accurately understand what and truthfully describe actuality. Boop. There we go.
Well, of course, I disagree, because I think that matter cannot be the ultimate. Matter, or the physical universe, was created at the Big Bang, and there has to be something beyond which instantiated it. And matter cannot be eternal, because then you would have either an eternal regress, or there would be a state of affair which would be eternal but unchanging. And an unchanging state of affairs can create a universe and the Big Bang.
But that it gets to a point where it breaks down and it's not really accurate. And that's saying that the best we can do is be sentient beings, because that's what we are. And you don't have to have an answer. That whole business of sentience is to be self-aware. And I can't see how there's any sentience we can locate anywhere that's not living with a brain. And so the idea of God as a disembodied mind is just wishful thinking. God is we are the image of God. Made in the image of God is more reversed. God is just what we're trying to put together according to what our sentient constructs. The vector of our thinking can accurately describe what the heck it is that we're experiencing.
Yeah, I see it like this, that the mind is the only thing which can instantiate things without pre-existent physical existence. And the universe, we know that it had a beginning, and the cause of the universe has to be beyond and above what is physical. And I see only a mind as a possible causal mechanism of the physical world, even if we don't understand how he had the power to instantiate the physical.
Could you give me an example of a mind which instantiates something without a previous cause or material effect?
No, we have never. I mean, we have never observed that to occur, but that doesn't. But first of all, there is nothing illogical in the proposition.
I didn't say there was.
Yeah, but I am saying there is nothing illogical. If there would be something illogical, then of course, that hypothesis would become impossible.
Yeah, no, I didn't say there was something illogical. I just said it's not sound to reason from existent minds, because all existent minds use previous material and substances to instantiate things.
Well, the contrary would
your analogy is you're just using a false analogy, really.
Well, the contrary would be that matter produces consciousness, but I see both things as essentially different and not as the same substance.
I'm only going on what your claim was. Your claim was that you are the only thing you know that can instantiate things without previous substances are minds. And I'm saying
Right.
I have no. You just said you have no examples of that.
Right, but what would be the contrary? And the question is your alternative more case adequate? And I would say categorically no, because the physical matter, energy, these things cannot instantiate thoughts and consciousness and intelligence, and
Right.
and that's a big problem. And I mean,
Sure, that
I've
might be
never seen.
Sure, that
I've
might be a
never
problem.
It is a problem. I've
Yeah,
never seen
I can grant that
materialist.
I can grant that it is a problem, but even given that it's a problem, your particular answer doesn't answer that problem, does it?
Well, we have two alternatives here. Either consciousness gave rise to the material world, or the material world was instantiated somehow and then gave rise to consciousness. And I go with the first option because I think it is the only plausible one.
Consciousness describes.
Now, I've given you that there are no examples of how you used your particular argument, right? And you granted that. So I can understand that you're making the assertion that it seems to you the only way it can be done, but you have no examples. You've got no analogies to use for why this is necessarily the case. Right?
Well,
so you
right.
can't make an inductive argument, and you
correct.
said you can't make a deductive argument without being circular. So I fail to see what kind of argument you're making.
Well, in the end of everything, we are discussing events and occurrences which we could never have presenced because we were not there. So all we can do is just think about these things philosophically and then come to the best conclusion or the best explanation.
Or,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Or the honest one is saying we don't know, because Otangelo, what the religious people or the apologetics do is trying to reach the fringes of our knowledge and say, basically, the God of the gaps, he did it, right? What can you say? We don't know, and let's move on.
Well, I don't say I don't know, because I don't think it is an honest answer, because we have several lines of reasoning which permit us rationally and logically and plausibly to come to the conclusion that God did it. And one formidable reason is the teleological argument. We see features in the natural world which only can be instantiated by intelligence.
You are in error. You are committing one thing. You're using your belief as knowledge, right? You are saying it to existence.
Well, first of all, in regards of ultimate reality, nobody has absolute proofs, empirical proofs of what is. You cannot prove me that the physical natural world is all there is, and I cannot prove to you that there is something beyond the physical universe.
Correct.
So whatever
we don't know.
So whatever conclusion that we come to, it is based on faith.
No, because I say I don't know. I'm the honest here saying I haven't got a freaking clue how we came about. But
that is that you can say.
Is it factual what I just said? Is it?
You can say I don't know. Of course, you can say that. Of course. But if we have to put on the table the options, what the possibilities are, there is a true dichotomy: either God exists or not. That's it.
No. But you have to. That's like saying
I don't know. Isn't an ontological?
No. That's because saying that
it is just an epistemic confession of ignorance.
If either God exists or he's not, then he's dependent upon his occurrence. He's not independent. It's just it's an insufficient line of thinking. You come to a conclusion about a God that it's not consistent. Okay,
we don't claim to conclude God based on empirical proofs. We come to the conclusion God did it because it is the best case adequate explanation. So the same goes with the naturalist, which comes to the contrary conclusion and says, I think that the material world is all there is because of this and that.
Well, so far, you're very, very welcome.
Sorry,
Yeah, go on.
can I real quick? What do you mean by adequate there, Otangelo?
Well, what I mean by adequate is this. What we have to examine is the natural world, the physical universe. That's what that is the issue of our investigation. So the question is, do we see signs of intelligent past action to instantiate the physical world, yes or no? Once that question is answered, then you can say, if we see signs of intelligence, then God is the best explanation. If we don't see them, then we can say maybe unguided, random, non-intelligent occurrences explain our existence better.
Otangelo, argument from ignorance.
But both propositions require to be substantiated. And when you say, I believe that God is necessary because I see that kind of sign in the physical world which requires intelligence, then this is not an argument of ignorance. It is an argument of knowledge.
No, you don't know it. No, you don't know it. You
Okay, listen, is it fair to say that that which occurs cannot have not occurred?
Oh, sorry, say that again, please.
That which occurs cannot have not occurred.
No, that's a logical contradiction.
How
No, of
so?
course it could. No, it could have not occurred, right?
Right, and if it has occurred, it cannot have not occurred. Therefore, once that which occurs,
Well, what occurred,
immutable.
it could have not occurred eventually, but it occurred, so it happened, right? So what?
So what? Well,
Lautin, are you having a shit?
Yes.
Can you mute?
Dude.
Yeah.
So what? You ask about so what to the.
I hope it's a very big bong, to be fair.
Oh God. Just think about it. I would just think about it, because the worst thing you can do in a conversation with somebody is to try to get them all defensive. And I've heard it over and over. People just attack you, Otangelo, and you're caught in defensive mode, and you seem to be drilling down on the stuff that you know that has given you comfort before. But I don't see as being open-minded. You don't seem to get the flip side, and I get the flip side of religious thinking, and I've dismissed it. Although it's wishfully wonderful, it just is not actual. And there's no way to confirm that. So we have to go with what we confirm, because that's what we are.
Okay, can it be proven or confirmed that the physical natural world is all there is and that there is nothing beyond?
Yes.
How?
Because that which occurs cannot have not occurred. And if that which does not occur, it's nothing. I don't care what universe you're in. If it doesn't,
no, that doesn't prove what I asked for.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't prove what I asked for.
It's the fundament. It must occur.
Sorry, Bill. Can we just ask for what reason do you think that, Otangelo?
Why I believe that God exists?
No. In answering his question, you said that doesn't follow. Why?
It doesn't follow because he would need to be all-knowing in order to know that there is nothing beyond the physical universe. He isn't all-knowing, so he cannot answer that question. Nobody can answer it.
If it's not observed, it doesn't sentiently observed. It doesn't mean that it's not actual. There's two types.
What? Listen, you don't know even 0.0000001% of all reality. What we know about reality is very, very restricted. So you cannot give that conclusive answer in regards of ultimate reality. Nobody can.
I know 100% of the reality that I'm experiencing.
Okay, but what we are experiencing doesn't mean by default that there is no God and that it is all there is.
We're not saying that there is no God. We're not saying it. You're making the claim that there is.
Yes, no. But Bill said that he knows that the physical is all there is. No, because you don't know that.
Because we can touch it.
Yes,
Come
but
on,
what we
Angelo,
can
I mean-
touch, yes, but listen, what we can touch or physically experience can have two possible opposite explanations. One is that God did it and created it, and the other that he did not. We don't know which of these two possibilities are the true ones in absolute terms. We can
Let me
only
try this.
infer it based on the evidence that
No,
we have at hand.
That's a false dichotomy because you don't know the rest. You just mentioned that we know 0 point however many zeros, right? The in between stages is also part of the equation. It
Listen,
could be
there are
aliens.
just two. Okay, then I would ask you what created those aliens.
No. Don't go down the rabbit hole. Yeah,
That's
because
the
then we can say who created your God. You understand? And you
God
want to
is-
say
and
no.
that- and my answer is God is eternal.
Says who?
He's the ultimate.
Says you, my man. Do you understand?
Well, we are putting here on the table the possibilities. What
No.
is the framework?
You are
What
making up
is-
the possibility. Do you
Listen,
understand the
what
difference?
is okay? I tell you, this is a true dichotomy. Either God exists or
down.
not.
No.
Prove me
That's not
Slow
true.
down.
Dichotomy. It's a false dilemma because you are making a God like if it exists. Do you understand? No, it's like say, oh, the monster Loch Ness exists or it doesn't exist. We have to prove one or the other. You just don't make it up. You know what I mean? Father Christmas, does it exist or does it not exist?
Okay.
It's the same thing. Change God for Thor.
What I still
Uh-oh. The robots got him.
The Force has got him.
We're getting just no audio. It was just
listen. What I state is
slow
following: there are two buckets. In one bucket with other options, please tell me.
No. But you're making the bucket. That's the whole freaking point. Yeah, your bucket is God. Your bucket there is or there isn't. You don't know the rest.
Well, if you make a claim that there are other options,
No. It
present
could
them.
be other option. No, it could be other
Okay.
option.
Okay. So what can be claimed without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. If you
Touché.
don't have evidence
Touché.
of other options, then I dismiss them.
Correct. We same with your God because you have got zero
It's
evidence.
not about that. The question is, what is the framework of investigation? My claim is that there are two buckets. Either there is an ultimate God creator, which is eternal and intelligent, or plural, but various gods, or there is a other bucket and there is no God, there is nothing in it. If you state that there is a third bucket, a third category, then you have to demonstrate or explain what it is. If you don't have, if you don't have, listen, if you don't have a third option, then I don't have to adhere and say there is eventually a third option because there is no evidence for it.
I've heard you do this before.
What would you call evidence? God. What would you put in the category of evidence that it could be a God?
I'm just talking about ontological possibilities. I state there are just two. If you say there is a third, mention it. If you can't, I don't have to stick to a third one and say, oh, we don't know, but maybe there is. No, if there is no evidence or if you cannot mention a third one, I don't have to think that there is one.
Okay, would you agree to this, that as far as from my standpoint of actuality and occurrence, okay, that there's two types of actuality, there's two descriptions of actuality in relation to sentient observation of it. Things that occur that sentience can observe, things that occur that sentience does not observe, but it's still actual. And then there's the other category of that which does not occur. Okay, so that which does not occur is nothing. So it's all the question about actuality is if it occurs, then it's the sentience either can observe it directly or we can develop tools, okay, to detect these things. That's the deal with science. The science but it has to be fundamented on the things actually occurring. Okay?
Well, the thing is that whatever exists beyond the physical universe cannot be scientifically investigated. That's why I say that scientism, or the claim that only a proposition only makes sense when it can be scientifically investigated is unwarranted. I
If
think
No. You're
if
talking
it's
about the
exist-
fringes.
hey, if it's
Sorry.
existing, then it must be occurring somewhere. Okay, existing beyond the physical universe. It's just like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. If the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, you're smuggling in some more parts. It's just that we may not observe it yet, but it is occurring. Okay, so that is the business of sentience, is to model a reality over what we are endowed through evolution and our brains to experience that which is actual. But we're not gonna, okay, that's what we
just
do.
give me a minute. I'm right back. Just a minute,
Okay.
okay?
Sorry to get rude there, Lookout.
It's okay.
I'm
All
just
good.
trying to, yeah. It's
All
just
good.
that he pretty much I've heard a lot of this where people basically get him in a corner where he has to keep repeating and protesting because you're asking the same challenges all the time. And I'm trying just to sculpture something to where maybe his thinking can get around to it.
Well, but you can't, because it's got a. It's not like Darth, but it's got like a fixed script.
Yeah, he sure
Right.
does. We all do, though.
Well, no, because we can be subject to change. That's the whole point about the natural
Right.
world, where we can say, you know what, not you full of it, but you are wrong because X, Y, Z. He's not presenting X, Y, Z. He says, I believe X, Y, Z, and you haven't got an opposition to what I believe.
I'm not real good at all that logical and stuff
Right.
because it gets so convoluted and esoteric, and it's just I'm just trying to drill down on this actuality, what is, and what we know. These people doubt reality. They think you can pray and walk through a wall or something, and they make decisions in real life about these things. And they don't solipsists, questioning whether it's possible to know something or to even know yourself or really exist. And that's all. It just makes me go gaga. I'm here. I'm trying to deal with stuff. We're all sentient. We're individual and discrete sentient beings that can never see the universe from the same frame of reference. But we communicate. We communicate, and that's what this whole business of sentient is. That's what we are. So all the other things that emerge, morality and this, that's all just stuff that's social. That's human social interaction. Okay, and it's nothing about the universe. This God thing takes people on a inaccurate vector of thinking about accurately describing what it is we're all involved with here.
Yeah, they take them in a wild trip, right? Of pure imagination.
Oh, it's so silly. The whole thing is so silly. That's the thing. And people will fight wars over this shit. The ultimate expression of power in this world is to get somebody else to die for your agenda. And we have a whole history of that. And how do you do that? You establish yourself as an ultimate authority that you can tell people how to live and manipulate them into doing what you're doing. Because if they don't, they'll burn for eternity.
But before they go burn in eternity, they use physical force.
Yeah, by whatever means necessary.
Sure.
They're I call it eternal life insurance salesmen. They'll tell anything you need that they want you to hear, so you'll sign on the line and pay your premiums all your life. And then when it's time to cash in on the life insurance thing, for you, you're dead. And for me, death is the same as life before birth. So, sentience is square one for us, but actuality is square one for existence. What do you guys think?
Well, two of them are mute. Simon.
Well,
I knew it.
I'm listening. I mean, I just don't want to interfere because I've been through these arguments so many times that it's just not
similar to
hardly worth
mine.
me.
Yeah,
no, I mean, it sounds like you're taking an empiricist view, and that's fair enough. But don't think that there isn't philosophical arguments against that position. I mean, of course there are. There are against just about all positions. So I agree with that position. I would call myself an empiricist and an atheist.
Okay.
And I think that we can only know things through observation, or the things that lead us to confirm our observations. And that's the way we get to knowledge. And other than that, we're just guessing. That's
Well,
it.
I was thinking about possibilities and impossibilities in the terms of actuality, and possibilities are not facts. And you may have 100 possibilities of an event occurring. As soon as the one event occurs, it becomes a fact and it's no longer a possibility. And all the other possibilities become non-occurrences and they're just nothing. So people they seem to be talking about possibilities as if they're facts. And I hear that sort of in the way they think. And same thing with impossibilities. Impossibilities is something that has not occurred and will not occur. Okay, that's something that's impossible. But possibilities are not facts.
Potentially. I mean, potentially. I wouldn't necessarily go down that road because, there is such a thing as, quantum mechanics, which says that the same thing can exist in two states at the same time.
Yeah,
and that doesn't seem, they're just possibilities, right? So, I don't think that strictly agrees with what you're saying, but I get your point that on
the actuality is the collapse. It's
on the classical view of the world, that would probably be correct.
Well, okay.
And actuality is in your actual moment, in your actual time, right? Actuality and potentialities is actually is options, right? Because we acquire a certain information about a given topic, and it says, okay, there's 3 or 4 options, and then you choose, and then it becomes actual. But
I don't like these kind of arguments. I mean,
right?
Virtually anything is logically possible because if you can put it in a syllogism and get a conclusion which is valid, then it's logically possible. So
yeah, but possibilities I'm concerned in actualities. Possibilities are interesting, but it's the actuality and the confirmation.
Right, but notice there's a crossover. And that's all I'm saying. Look, there is a crossover here. Some possibilities are very likely. And if they're very likely, then we would call them knowledge. So we would call them actual. So I think just trying to make a distinction between those two words is not very helpful.
Well, no. The knowledge is memory of previous actualities that did occur. Okay, but that's used to inform your expectations of what is going to occurring in the here and now.
Based upon certain assumptions, which some might call faith, yeah.
Well,
and that's the problem. That's the problem. If you want to bang your head against that wall, I'm just saying that making a distinction between actualities and possibilities not being the same thing, right? Well, sometimes they are the same thing. So
I can't see it.
But atheists commonly claim that theists, they have faith, they are believers, while they are not. But I disagree. Also, the position that there is only the physical natural world, that is a position that you cannot prove, that you cannot know with absolute certainty. So you have to take it on faith as well.
Sure, if you consider your standard of knowledge to be absolute certainty, but I don't know many naturalists that do.
Yeah, I think it's just whatever works.
And that's the problem.
Well, so how does it work that the natural world is all there is? Is the physical universe eternal?
I used to go to AA meetings, and we'd end every AA meeting with "Keep coming back, it works." And then I would always chime in while it's working. So
right. So why does the universe work? Why does it even exist?
Well, see, when you ask the question why, who, what, when, where, how, and why, that is an invitation to open the hall of deconstruction in the sentient mind and to start describing things and modeling a reality and providing an answers that you think are certain and confirmed. So that's a sentient business. The actuality of what's occurring, that is the universe, you can describe something perfectly accurately, or you can perfectly wrongly, inaccurately, and it does not affect the actuality of what actually occurs.
Right, but my question is, our universe, we exist, we are here. That demands an explanation. What is yours?
No,
why is there something? Why is there something rather than? So why is there something rather than nothing?
Because a non-occurrence is nothing, and occurrence is something, and we experience occurrence.
Why
That's not
do
an
you
answer
change?
to my
No, okay,
question.
hold on. No, I understand what you're getting at. Why don't you change the question between why to how? Because if we know the how, it might be you may not know the why. Because the how tells you the why.
Okay, whatever. So what is the
Yeah, how
answer
and why
to
can
my
be the same
question?
thing. He's saying, why does it do it, or
No,
how?
no,
Does
why? Because it's ambiguous. How means you have to work at it.
No,
What's
I'm not asking about exactly if you posit that the universe came into existence. I'm not asking how it came into existence. What I am asking is why is there existence rather than not?
So you're not doubting existence, right?
No.
Okay, so that's the human condition. There is existence, and sentience is how we describe it and model it. That's what we
Yes,
are.
but that's not my question. I'm asking you, why is there something rather than nothing?
And what if we don't know?
Well, you asked for
Okay,
the
so
fundament because the
So
Okay.
the question is if we don't know equal God.
yeah, the fundament
okay,
is not God. The
okay,
fundament is
so you
eternal.
say we don't know. What do you say, Bill? Do you also say I don't know?
I say knowing is yet to be described. Is yet to be essentially described and modeled. But I believe that occurrence is actual. And you can it's the fundament. You cannot deconstruct the fundament. It's either nothing or something. Okay. And as far as my experience goes, there's something. So I
Okay,
know that it does
since we
exist.
exist, something has always existed. Do you agree with that?
That's a hard concept that
No,
I
it's
believe.
not. It's a very easy question to answer.
No,
Of course, always has something exists because nothing has no causal powers. So there was never a state of affairs of absolute nothing,
you cannot
because
describe. Okay,
otherwise there would still
right.
be a
Otherwise,
state of affairs of absolute nothing. Since this is not the case, then something must have existed always.
okay. Close your eyes. How many dots can you picture in your mental field? One, you see a big white dot on a black field. You can see two. You can see 10. Can you see 10? Can you see 20 separately? Can you see 100,000? Okay.
How does
I had a
that answer my question?
I I'm getting to it. I had a friend who said, "Yes, I see one dot, and it's a set of 100,000." And I said, "That's very clever, but I'm talking about the resolution of your inner sentient, of your inner thinking, and it's limited. Okay, we are physical beings coming up, evolving from whatever it came up to, and we have developed." Our present state of thinking as a natural process, but we don't know. There's things that are beyond our comprehension. Don't start
Mhm.
talking about all the particulars you're acquainted with, because that's absurd.
Right.
Okay, because you can it's just like Zeno's paradox. You can subdivide everything into particulars, halfway points between where you're located and the destination. Okay, and every time you move to a halfway point, you can do that infinitely.
You
Okay,
can do that in a thought experiment, but you cannot do that in reality
and if you spend all your time,
because reality is discrete. Time is discrete. It is
Well,
subdivided
no,
in
no,
discrete
so why can God do
the
sections,
that?
lesson,
and the
the
smallest
lesson,
one is Planck time. So you
but the
So
cannot
why,
lesson,
keep going
so,
infinitely.
the
so why can
lesson
God do that?
excuse me, the lesson of Zeno's paradox is that if you spend all your time deconstructing an event, you never get to the event. The idea is if you want to
Yeah,
see,
exactly. Right.
okay, so at some point we move on. That's what sentience does.
Yeah.
We confirm what we're doing. Our minds form whatever constructs and concepts they form. It's a coalescence of mental faculties, and what it happens is it results in the firing of a muscle. You can think of anything, any great thought, and there's no way you can communicate that to me except through the firing of a muscle.
So my question is, can actuality or the physical go back infinitely? Yes or no?
We cannot we cannot experience temporally. We cannot, as
That's not
sentient
what
beings,
I asked.
experience.
That's not what I
It's
asked.
exactly what you're asking. You tell me to
No.
confirm. You're telling me to confirm that there is some state or event or occurrence that extends into infinity. I say if eternity is all of the past plus all of the future with one plank of now stuck right exactly in the middle. And that's our human condition. We don't need to make up a god in our image in order to get about the business of moving on with our sentient thinking.
Okay, do you believe that the universe had a beginning, yes or no?
Our universe, probably, yeah. Ours.
Well, yeah, but the universe is a sentient construct. It's a description. I believe that which occurs cannot have not occurred. So
That's not
that's
what
the
I
way.
asked. Why
Well, I
are
know
you
you
not
want-
answering my
Because
question?
you want, because
I
you want
asked
me to.
I asked a very
You want
simple
me-
question. Do you believe
you
that the universe had a beginning, yes or no? That's a yes or no question.
Yes, you want me to encapsulate the entire existence of the universe into a temporal concept, and it doesn't work that way. Sentience cannot know. Sentient beings cannot know eternity. We can only
Do we
talk about
exist? Do we exist in time? Yes or no?
yes.
Good. So can time go infinitely back? Yes or no?
When you use the word infinite, sir, you're not talking about actuality. That's a possibility. Actuality is that which occurs.
I am
Okay.
talking about the past.
Yes, the past.
Does the past go infinitely back, or did time have a beginning at the Big Bang?
The past is a sentient model. Okay, it's not. We cannot extend our model to include eternity and hold it in our minds. Just like you can't see 100,000 dots in your mind's eye. So you want it to be something, and you're just a sentient being trying to make sense of it, and you're trying to get a model. But you jump to God. It's really God of the gaps. I'm sorry, you use it.
Exactly.
Didn't talk about
But you go to the
I
God.
didn't talk about God. I asked a very clear question.
No, but
I
you're
asked
leading.
if you believe.
Otangelo, you are
I
leading to
asked
it.
I asked you if you believe that
Okay.
the universe started with the Big Bang, or if the universe is eternal. That's a very simple question. Why can't you simply answer it? What do you
Turn your
believe?
mic gain down. Turn your mic gain down. You try to sound like that. Very powerful. Just turn it down a little bit.
Otangelo or me?
No, Otangelo. He's popping. That means his gain is too much.
Okay. I don't know. It's
Right,
the best
so you don't know.
explanation right
Okay.
now, but I don't know.
That's fine.
But
So
I don't doubt that I exist.
Good. So is there a contradiction with saying that there is one, Angela? If there is an infinite regress, could you tell me what the contradiction is?
Well, the problem is it's not that there is a contradiction. The thing is that you cannot arrive at this present moment in time from an infinite past.
You don't arrive. You are situated in a plank of now, in the middle of eternity, in the middle of past and the future.
So that doesn't follow because, of course, in any infinity, there of course are numbers. I mean, that's what an infinity is. It's a collection of numbers, right? So
Well,
there's no reason why you can't land on any one number in an infinity.
No, but he's talking about a linear event. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Event.
I'm as well, and there's no reason
He's
why.
He's on a road.
No reason why it couldn't be 32.
Correct. No, it's
Okay.
fine.
No reason. Right?
If the past, if the past,
infinite past,
okay, listen.
then there's
If the
no reason that
past
we couldn't
is,
be at our present moment. There's
Okay,
no
listen.
logical contradiction there.
if the
Okay.
past is infinitely old, then getting from the past to the present would be like trying to arrive at the surface from a hole infinitely deep, from a bottomless pit. In other
Yeah,
words,
but
if the
we have
hole
arrived.
is, in
Exactly.
other words,
we are
if
here.
listen. In other words, if the hole is infinitely deep, someone would never ever make any progress at all in getting closer to the surface of the hole. There would always be an
Right,
infinite
but you-
distance to get,
I get what you're saying.
before arriving at
Yes,
the surface of
correct.
the hole. So you would never arrive at
Correct.
this present moment in time. That means there
correct.
had to be a beginning.
Correct. So all I'm saying to you now, right, is that there's no logical contradiction between us being at a place in an infinity and an infinity actually existing. There's no contradiction there. I'm not saying that I can explain why we are at the number we are. All I'm saying is we are at a number, right? And that means that whether it's actual or potential infinity, that could still exist, right?
It's like quantum consciousness is enthralling.
Okay, the
There's-
point
There's
is,
just
if you
no contradiction there. I understand you're saying that we can't have started without a start. I get what you're saying there, right? But that's not what I'm pointing out. I'm pointing
but
out
it's
that
not
we are
about
at a
logical.
particular position, right? And
It's not
how did
about
we get-
logical contradictions. It's about
Yes,
the
it is.
ontological. No, it is about the ontological fact that if the past would be infinite, we would never arrive at the present moment in time, because the past would be always an infinite period of time back. Or in
No.
other words, if I start counting now and I want to reach a particular moment in the future, if that particular moment is an infinite period of time ahead, I will never reach it because it is always infinitely farther away.
No,
Okay,
no,
hang on,
Then
please.
there's no reference.
Let me just say this then, okay? If you are in an infinity, right, then that can and must necessarily be a finite distance between any point in that infinity and the one you are currently at. Right? You cannot have an infinite without having particular defining points within that infinite. Otherwise, it's not an infinite. Right? So I'm sorry to say that as soon as you say that you have an infinite, you are declaring that there is a scale by which we are currently at a position. If that's the case, then obviously, whenever you've started it, then there will always be a finite distance between that point you started at and the point we're
Right.
currently at.
Right. So exactly. But I
Okay.
agree with you on that. So that means if we suppose a football game 1,000 years from now, and if it instantiates and then look back, then a finite period of time has passed. Now, if it is 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000,000 or multi-trillion years ahead, at the moment that it instantiates and you look back, always a finite period of time has passed. That
Correct.
means it cannot be an infinite period of time ahead, because otherwise it would never instantiate and actualize.
Right, hold on.
That's not true, though.
No, hold on. Let me put it another way. Yeah, I'm a lorry driver. Yeah, let me give you an analogy of what you say. Otangelo, please correct me if I misinterpret what you're saying. Right? Okay. Are you saying that the infinite is like a road or time, right? Something in the past, the road at the back, and the future is the road ahead. We are at a zebra crossing. Do you understand? We are stopped, or we are here, or we are traveling. We are traveling forward, right? Are you saying infinite or past? I don't give a shit what happened in the past. I don't give a shit what happened with the road at the past. Probably was no road, right? At the future, I don't know if we're going to take off with my lorry. Do you understand? I don't give a shit about how far in the future or infinite, because the word infinite is irrelevant to us right now, to you, to me, to my kids, or to my 10 degree of descendants. It doesn't matter, right? You're making a snowball out of a fucking pebble, right? Or overcomplicating the issue, right? What Billy's saying, hey, we are riding this wave, right, of time. Right, infinite, fuck it. By the way, when you travel in your infinite road, shall we call it, you are only gonna go into what Simon says, a point in the future. It's not. Well, he said 32. You may travel up to 31, right? But there's a 32. Who gives a shit about the 32? Right? Who gives a shit?
What we try to elucidate is if the past was finite, or if it was infinite. That's the question.
Understand.
If it was infinite, then we could say God is not necessary because
you see,
existed.
That's what I'm saying. You wanted to insert the God part. Insert the God on my road. Insert the God on my road. It's the same analogy, right? The time, the road, the distance, two distances, right at the back. Put God in that piece of road. Do you understand? Yeah, it doesn't. The past and the past and the infinity at the back, infinity at the front doesn't matter. we are in the middle, as Bill said, right? Or Simons, right? We are in a particular point of history.
The question is,
time.
how can you arrive at this present moment in time from an infinite past?
Why
no matter
you
where you go, there you are.
Exactly. Well, and you do the next step. You're never going to go back to the past. You're just going to
But
put the
where
next
do
foot
you
forward.
start if there was no start? If
Where do you
the back is
Well,
not a finite number?
No problem. No problem. You start at the present. You don't start at the past. You start at the present. You start at you. Otangelo starts whenever the fuck he wants. Okay.
The Planck of now exactly in the middle of the past
Right.
and the future.
Yeah.
Exactly in the middle.
The question is, how can you arrive at that present moment in time from an infinite past?
No. You are there already. That's how exactly, Bill. You nail it. You are there. You don't arrive. You're already at the present. That's the problem that you're thinking. Yeah,
Have
you're
you
thinking
ever read
that
Slaughterhouse-Five, Otangelo? Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five. Have you
What?
read that? There's a book called Slaughterhouse-Five, written by
No,
Kurt
no.
Vonnegut.
No, I
Read
don't
it.
read it.
It's an easy read, man. And just give it a read. Billy Pilgrim has become unstuck in time. That's the first sentence. And it's a real good book. Okay. I enjoyed my conversation with you, sir. I really do, and I hope we can speak again. I just don't like to get you all riled up. I've heard you in so many venues, and people really dog on you, and I just would like to. I think you're making an effort to get it, but I think you've got these presuppositions that are making you go along inaccurate vectors of thinking. Okay. You have a good day.
Yeah, I think I'll close the stream. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for
Slaughterhouse-Five, dude, please. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Okay. I'll close the stream. Have a nice weekend. Bye, guys.
Bye.